Hello and welcome to Two Bound Books. My name is Amber.
And my name is Shailee. We're so glad you're with us today. We are a podcast dedicated to bringing authors and readers together through the stories that bind us. We have had kind of a crazy month for those who follow us on social media. We kind of went silent for a little bit there, and then all of a sudden we're giving you guys an update that Amber's in the hospital.
Yeah.
So she's okay, as you can tell, because we're here recording. She got in a little fender bender.
If that's what you can call it, it was definitely the car hit me from the side.
Yeah. So, and funny, she was actually leaving the hospital parking lot when she got hit. So
I got to walk myself to the ER. And then I stayed in the hospital for 3 days.
So it was quite the adventure. She's healing. How are you feeling?
A lot better than I did when I first got hit.
Well, I would hope so. So, yeah, we had that going on. And then I had a tooth issue at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was like the whole right side of my face was just down for the count. And they thought that I was going to need a root canal. But then after tons of x-rays, all of my teeth are perfectly fine. They think a muscle or a nerve locked up in my jaw.
Well, and my favorite moment is I got hit on a Tuesday and we were in the ER and we're sitting there in the ER and I am laying in the bed. We both are wanting to be like kind of antisocial, but also like I didn't want to be alone in the ER because I have the hospital trauma. And so she's sitting there with me and I have my hand resting on the side of the bed and her face is in my hand and we're both reading our Kindles.
Because her hand was ice cold.
Because my circulation decided to stop working. And so that was super fun.
It was funny.
It was great because I got my like physical touch love language like out of the way, and Shaylee's like totally not a physical touch person, but my hand was cold enough that it worked for her.
For a moment, I was okay with it.
And we got our reading time in.
We did. We got some reading time in, which was nice. But let's be real. Reading's not easy in the hospital. People coming in and out every few minutes.
Oh my goodness.
So
it was very hard.
It was, but we made it through. Okay. So after that little update, we, like I said, took a little bit of a break. So let's kind of update people where we've been. Like as of late, what have you been reading?
I have, so in my book goal for 2025, my book goal is 100 books and I'm at 92.
Nice job.
I know. And Goodreads does this really cool thing where they'll give you like awards. And so I've been like really gung-ho on trying to make sure that I get all of those awards. Don't laugh at my millennial language.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the achiever side of you.
Oh, 100%. I'm such an overachiever. It's not even funny. And it stresses me out when I can't get the awards. And so I've gotten all of the awards for 2025 so far.
Good job.
And I'm very proud of myself.
Yeah, that's impressive. Are you actually taking the content in as you read it while you're trying to meet those goals?
So one of the things that I've discovered is Kristen Hanna is a phenomenal author for historical fiction.
Oh, yeah. She's well loved.
And it's one of those authors that you don't mind getting your heart stabbed because the historical content and the historical context is so phenomenal that you're just like taking the heart of the matter to heart. And you're like, okay, going down that dark path.
Okay. I have not read a Frida McFadden book yet. Wait, Kristen Hanna.
Kristen Hanna.
I'm getting my authors mixed up. I was thinking Frida McFadden because that's who my sister's reading right now because she's into the thriller side of things.
Oh, yeah.
But Kristen Hanna, I haven't read either of those authors, actually. I had Frida one on my bookshelf, and my sister was so excited the other day when she came to my house as she was reading that. I'm like, just take it. Just take it home, enjoy it. I'm not going to get to it anytime soon.
My shelf is your shelf.
Yeah. So talking about our book goals, last year my goal was the 45, and I got to 68. I'm officially done with 46 books this year.
Way to go.
On my way to my goal of 100.
So, funny story. We had to travel down. It was like a 6 to 7 hour drive for a memorial. And my husband and I.
That sounds like a funny story.
Well, okay, it gets funnier. We are driving in the car. My husband is listening to a 28-hour book at 1.5 speed. I'm reading the physical book.
Of the same book?
Of the same book. And I finished it in 21 hours. And he finished it in 26.
It's impressive.
And so like we'd get to the point where I'm like, what is happening? And I'd like smack his arm because it's one of those books where you're like drawn in and everything is happening all at the same time. And it's a book that you've read. And so I'm sitting there texting you and Taylor's like, what's going on? What's going on? And I'm like, I can't tell you. And he's like, why? And I'm like, because I'm like way ahead of you in the book.
Yeah, a lot happens in a short amount of time.
Oh my goodness.
Especially in the fantasy war books.
Oh, I love a good fantasy. My mom got me, okay, she wants a shout out. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
In the store the other day, she got me a magazine and she was super stoked about it. And it was the like top 100 fiction or like fantasy
Time
books.
magazine.
Yeah, Time magazine. So she got she got two magazines. She got the book one for me, the fantasy one. She's like, see, I think of you all the time. And then for herself, she got the one about Alzheimer's.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, all right, we have two very different sets of literature.
Yeah, but you know what? Whatever works.
I'm like, put me in a fantasy world any day. I will gladly live that up.
So I'm curious, have you been finding, because I think we all kind of change based on what's going on in our lives and stuff, but have you found yourself to be more of a mood reader lately, a check it off the list reader lately, or something else entirely?
I'm an achievement person right now. I'm trying to
All
get
about
those
the goals.
It's all about those goals.
All about
those
that
goals.
Megan Trainor.
I love that that's where our brains went at the same time. It's all about those goals for me. And so like, I just want those achievements. I want those awards.
So how do you find books that fit those awards? Are you going into the list that Goodreads provide and picking books off of their list?
Yes. And every once in a while, I've already chosen a book that's on that list or it's already on my TBR. And so like
that's
Dune,
helpful.
I know. So like Dune is one of the books that is on my TBR. Same with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm on the I just finished the second book of that. It is the funniest, quirkiest book known to mankind. And like, there's a spot where it's like, there's an improbability machine. And this is in the first book. Okay. They're really short, quick, really funny. Okay. But what I'm about to say is not necessarily funny per se. So it's like, there's an improbability machine and there's two missiles headed towards their spaceship. And he's like, improbability, you're going to turn into a whale and a plant. And then you hear the thoughts of the whale and the thoughts of the plant as then they're plummeting to the planet. And so the whale's like, what is this? I am breathing. Oh, what is my tail for? And then it's like, oh, what is that? It's getting bigger.
I feel like I'm watching a children's show.
And that was the last thought the whale had. And then later on, right? And then later on, they land their ship and they're like, what is why is there this massive crater and all of this like fat and blubber all around? Oh, that was the whale. And like,
okay, so sometimes we have really similar taste in books and other times I don't know what island you're on.
Okay, but that was a recommendation from my brother. So shout out to my brother on that one.
We're just giving Amber's family all the shout outs tonight because they are influencing her strongly at the moment. Okay, my other question. So,
what have you been?
Yeah, for me, I'm definitely a mood reader. And like through and through, it depends. And it's funny because I do have a list for my summer TBR because I have my main TBR on Goodreads.
Yeah.
But then I made notes in my phone for my summer TBR. And let's be real, it's all romance because it's nice and pretty outside.
You're a seasonal reader.
I'm totally a seasonal reader
and
because
I am too.
I'll go darker again in the fall.
And for me, like I'll go more academia.
Yeah.
And so like
academia or dark.
Yeah.
Any of that. But
Academia, fantasy, romance, whatever it is, but it's somewhere in the school sphere because fall means school for me.
yeah. And so I have my list on my phone, and I am kind of checking it off as I go, but it's based on my mood. And sometimes I'm like, I'm doing that one next, and then my mood says, no, you're not. So then I skip to a different one instead first. And so that's kind of the boat that I'm in with my reading at the moment. But okay, so we just kind of hit on it. You go for academia. We both do darker, whatever, in the fall. But and in Washington, if you're not from here,
it rains.
Yes, the second part of the fall. But the first part of the fall is pretty, and there's lots of leaves, and it's
kind
still
of
sunny,
like a second summer.
but colder in the morning.
Yeah.
A lot more brisk. Honestly, I love the fall. It's my favorite time of year.
There are days here in Washington where it can be snowing in the morning, raining by lunch, and then 70 degrees by the time we leave, by the time we would leave school.
We've had years like that, but it's not a common occurrence.
I mean, it's just kind of Washington. You just kind of have to dress to go mucking and then ready to peel off the layers.
Yeah. I live in sweatshirts though, so I don't know anything about that life.
So the hardest part for me is I work in kind of it's almost like a greenhouse with the way that the sun shines through in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. So in the morning, it's freezing cold. And in the afternoon, it's 80 to 90 degrees in there.
Man.
And I'll show up in my crew neck and I'll have just my crew neck. And then by the end of the day, I'm like, I really messed up. And I regret my decision every single day, but I can't get out of the crew neck phase right now.
I am always cold and have a space heater on under my desk, or I find my boss's office when he's at meetings because the sun shines nicely in that room. And I'll sit on his couch with my laptop for a bit in the sunshine. So
that brings me to my question, which would be, how do you like to read? Where do you like to read?
Oh,
are you a cozy comfort, or are you an in the car adventure?
I will not read in the car. I will puke all over.
The only person I can read in the car with is my husband when he's driving.
My dad's a pilot, and when I was 13 or 14, because I've always gotten car sick with stuff like that. I can't look at my phone. I can't read. So I've always been a put my headphones in and close my eyes on a road trip when I was growing up, and just tell me when we get there. Plus, it kept me from fighting with my sister because my dad did threaten us a few times to throw us on a Greyhound bus home if we didn't stop fighting.
Did he ever follow through?
No, because I'd put my headphones in at that point and go to sleep. I'm because my dad would follow through, so I wasn't going to test it.
Oh, that's fair.
But so I've never been able to do that. My dad's a pilot, and he was taking me to Kelso in his plane for a side job one time when I was a teenager. And I was like, I'll color in the plane. Yeah, no, first person to puke in my dad's plane. He was not thrilled with me. So
Drama
I've never
lived
that down. So no, I won't read in the car. I either want to be on my couch under a blanket, cozied up, or I love sitting out in the sun and reading. I will go sit outside, have a nice little breeze in the sun. We at my office have a picnic table out back. And I love going out there on my lunch break with a sparkling water and my book and my lunch and just enjoying the outdoors and some fresh air for a bit.
Yeah. So a few months ago, you were picking on me and you were like, you need to get a Kindle. Oh my gosh, it's life-changing or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And so I bought a Kindle and now I can't not read it. And so I had physical copy of the book that I was reading, that 21-hour book. I left the physical copy at home to read the Kindle because it was easier for me. And then I got this really cool pillowy thing that has a bowl in it. So then I could have my car snacks on it and it would hold my Kindle right in front of my face.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then I had my page clicker. So then I was all bundled up with my snacks and my page clicker. And I was able to snack and eat at the same time. It was the most cozy trip.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, I was flying through that book.
I will say the Kindle's so convenient for So sometimes you just want to hold a physical copy. So depending on my mood, I'll pick up my physical copy if I have one when I'm at home. But I just leave my physical copies at home now because I can get it on my Kindle Unlimited for free. Well,
kind of.
I paid
for the first 3 months.
I pay $10 a month and get unlimited books, which totally pays off because buying one physical book is already $10 more than $10 a month.
Buying a Kindle book for one of the books, it was $10.99.
That's what I'm saying. So Kindle Unlimited pays off if you read a lot. And so thank you, Amazon.
Read books.
Amazon's the best thing, man. I love it. But yeah.
Do we need to talk about how much I love it?
No, we've touched on it.
I ordered something at noon and it's sitting on my porch right now.
Did you pay for extra fast delivery?
No, it just showed up. That's
impressive.
I know.
Okay. Well, I think the Kindle's great. I vouch for it. It was a great birthday present for me this year.
It was just a yay me present.
Yeah. Treat yourself present.
It was a treat yourself before you travel.
There you go.
Actually, after you travel, because it was after I traveled that I got it.
But that's why it was so nice to get it for my birthday, because then I ended up going to Hawaii, and it was the best thing ever because I can read on a big airplane, I found out.
So what's super funny, though, is I recommended a book to you that was based out of Hawaii in the spot that you were at.
Yes.
And you didn't read it until after you went to Hawaii. And I said, you should read this book while you're in Hawaii.
I was deep in a series at that point. I'm not going to read a book just because you tell me to. I'm stubborn.
I know, but I'm kind of pushy also.
You are. But I did read it, and it was funny because I just read it recently. And there's I'm terrible at saying this, but there's like this crater out there off of Maui, Molokini, I think is what it's called. And people go out there, and it's just this huge half circle crater, and they take boats out and they snorkel out there because it's beautiful, like reef type area. And so it was only, I think, 5 miles from the shore of our hotel when we were in Maui. And so we sit there with binoculars and watch out there all day. So it was kind of funny to hear this book based in Maui, and they're going these places that I went and places that I saw. And so
it made it real for you.
Fun to relive it.
I know. I was in the middle of a book that was based out of DC. Like I was in the middle of a series that was based out of DC when I was in DC, and I was like, what is this? But like the way that they travel is like so much faster than what it actually is. Cause like they were like, and then we walked to the National Mall, and like we had to run from this monument to this monument. And I was like, that is like 5 miles. Oh you did not just show up there in like a matter of 3 minutes.
Well, speaking of travel.
Yeah.
You traveled into a new world.
I did.
Written by Stephen J. Morris. And the book is called Mother of Trees. So let's talk about it.
Yes. So Stephen J. Morris reached out to us on our website, twoboundbooks.com. If you would like to drop your book there as an aspiring author or would like us to read your book, feel free to drop it in there. So thank you, Stephen J. Morris, for the wonderful book. We actually had some correspondence beforehand, and he was listening to podcast, I think number 7 or 8. And he was like, you don't like when the book characters change
multiple POVs,
like from multiple point of views. Mm-hmm. And so you're not going to like my book. And I was like, try me. And I'm not going to lie, loved this book.
Okay. But how many point of views were in it?
4.
Okay. Yeah. Cause we talked about this afterwards. So in episode 10, you hear me take back what I said about that.
Yeah, I'm taking it back.
Because I read a series with like 8 point of views, and it can be good if it's done right.
And this was done right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like, there's a way to make it work. And this worked because you were like getting drawn into the past, but the characters were still relevant. And so you were getting that multiple views point of perspective. And it was so neat to be able to see like how the history happened and why things happened the way that they did based off of what they knew at that time.
Yeah.
And so it is classified as a fantasy with light romance, and it follows Elliah, a wood elf born without magic, making her an outcast. She and her mother are constantly on the move to avoid persecution, and their journey changes when they meet Beldroth and his son, who are on a quest to awaken the mythical Mother of Trees. As Elliah uncovers her identity and ancient prophecies, she must confront truths that could change the world.
Okay. So, I mean, you just told us a little bit about a couple of the characters' names. Were there any other? So, obviously, they're the main characters. Were there other main characters that really stood out to you?
Yeah. So, there's 5-ish main characters. So, you have Elliah, who's the main one that it follows. And she's a young wood elf that's born without magic. They're known as bereft if you don't have magic. And so she's constantly on the run with her mother, who's the next main character, and that's Elliah. And she is super secretive about her past. She is doing whatever she can in order to be able to keep Elliah safe and just protect her. Now, mind you, elves are not fully grown until they're like 80 to 100.
Okay.
And Elliah is 80.
And she's the daughter.
And she's the daughter.
Okay.
And so that's like, just keep that in mind. And then Beldroth, he is around Iliara's age. So Eliah's mom, around their age. And he's what's known as a warder, which is a different kind of elf. Super fun. And he's a guardian, and he's on the quest to awake the Mother of Trees. And he's acting as a mentor and protector to the group.
Okay.
And then you have Beldroth's son, Hugh Elias, who's around the same age as Elliah.
Okay.
So you have mother and father of not a cohesive family unit, and their children who are also not siblings, all traveling together. Now, Hugh Elias is a half-breed. He's super empathetic, very understanding of being an outsider, as he's a half-breed, and half-breeds at this time were not considered to be like good or qualified. And he ends up forming a bond with Elliah, which is super neat to be able to see that kind of come out. And then the reason why half-breeds are not allowed is because of Zoras. And he's the one that you get the perspective of as well. And he's the one that you mainly go back into history. He's one of the older elves, or oldest elves in the area. And so he is super complicated, super complex, to be able to grasp and understand like his thinking and why he thinks ways that he does in the past versus what's happening now, and what he's learned, and being able to attribute that to the change that he's trying to make in the world.
What kind of magic do elves possess in this book?
So there's interesting kind of systems in regards to how the wood elves live in homes that are made of silver veins. So like it's trees, and then like it's crafted. So it takes like years and years and years and hundreds of years in order to be able to grow their homes.
Okay.
They can do like simple kind of like wards and spells and things along those lines. But it's like, it's kind of complex to be able to explain without like
giving stuff away,
knowing the world and like explaining how the entire world is.
So then, okay, we talked about tropes on our last episode. What kind of tropes would you say are in this book?
Okay, so there's the chosen one.
Okay.
And that would be Elliah. She is awesome. I really like her. It's also kind of the reverse of I'm not like other girls in a way, because like I'm not like other girls where it's like I'm the strong, beautiful, powerful, like whatever. Like she's
super relatable
in that regard. And it's a lot like S.K. Horton's books.
Yeah.
Where it's that super relatable, like you are a, I suppose, teen in this regard, full of emotion and full of developing who you are. And so that was super neat.
So there was identity.
Absolutely. There was found family in this, bonding with unlikely companions, which is super neat. Hidden heritage and figuring out kind of who you are. There's epic quests, ancient prophecies, outcasts, and then mythical creatures.
I feel like I'm listening to like just trope-wise Lord of the Rings or something.
Oh, 100%. That's kind of what I would equate it to.
Yeah. It just kind of feels like it falls into that a little bit.
Yeah.
What type of audience would you recommend Mother of Trees to?
Okay. So there are many people who would like this book. If you are a fantasy enthusiast, 100% you would enjoy this book, especially those who love stories featuring magic, mythical creatures, ancient lore, anything along those lines. If you are a fan of a slow burn adventure, the story definitely takes its time to build the world and the developing characters, and it definitely takes a bit to get the pacing down. But once you are in it, you're like, I need to finish this book.
Okay.
So it's definitely one that's kind of like jumping off of a cliff where you're like, the anticipation is building and building and building, and it just keeps going up and up and up. And you're like, okay, when are we going to hit that peak? And then all of a sudden it hits and you're like, oh, I'm in this. Like, I can't not finish this. And now I have to read the rest of the series. Thank you, Stephen J. Morris.
So what age group do you think it's kind of aimed at?
I would definitely aim it more towards like high schoolish and like young adult.
Okay.
The world building's absolutely phenomenal. But I would definitely aim it towards like older high school to like young adult.
Okay, awesome.
And it's nice because it's a clean story. And so you're getting solid fantasy.
It's just in-depth.
It's in-depth fantasy. And so if you are a fan of in-depth fantasy that has a slow burn adventure where you like character growth, then you'll love the book.
Okay. So on that note, what do you think kept you sucked in so much once you hit that part? Like, what made this book one that you couldn't put down?
So the smooth pacing and the balancing of the actions and the characters, like introspections, their like thoughts and how they interacted with each other, definitely like you're like, okay, what's going to happen next? Like you need to know. There's a gradual unveiling of figuring out who Elliah is as you go throughout the book. So it's that curiosity aspect, and like you're going along in the mystery with her. And so you're having those active thoughts with her as she's figuring out and discovering where she comes from and who she is.
This reminds me of Divided.
Little
by
bit,
Amy
yeah.
and Missy.
Oh, 100%. And then the overall character interactions felt very organic and highly entertaining. They were well developed. And then the blend of personal growth with the epic fantasy elements worked really well.
Awesome. Well, why don't we run through the quill system a little bit just to give people a little bit better idea for those who have been following along and kind of understand our system. For those who don't, we have 5 different categories that we kind of talk about and rate. We have plot twists, world building, character depth, emotional impact, and then our unput down ability factor. And then for extra, we have Amber's bonus for wit and dialogue, and mine for loyalty, love, and mystery. So let's just jump in. Let's jump in. So let's talk about plot twists first. Were they surprising?
We rated it a 4 out of 5. The plot twists were unexpected, and they definitely added depth to the storyline.
How many do you think there were?
In regard to plot twists?
Yeah.
Too many to count.
There were a lot of plot twists.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like grab a bag of M&Ms and eat a plot twist. Like eat one for every plot twist.
I did. Okay. That's one way to do it.
And just like every time a plot
go for
twist
the
happens.
Skittles, man.
Okay, well that's fair too.
Okay.
But I'm kind of in a chocolatey mood right now.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Let's see here. The storyline with the plot. Do you feel like there was foreshadowing? Do you think it was like give me a little bit more on that plot?
I can't explain like how much this book does like such a good job of the jumping around from the history, like from what happened to the now.
Yeah,
in
past
the
and
book.
present.
The way it jumps around and then the way it all comes together, it's woven so beautifully that like as you're reading, like something happens in the now and then you read what happens in the past and then you're like, oh, that's why it happens that way. And then it's slowly starting to build the pieces all together. And then by the next chapter, it'll jump back to the present and you're like, whoa, that's why that happens that way.
Wait, do we know, is this Stephen's first book?
I know it's the first book of this series.
Yeah. But you're not sure if it's his first.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
I think he has a few others.
Okay.
But I'm so excited to read the rest of this series.
It sounds like he's a phenomenal author.
He told me he would get them for me. So I'm really excited.
There you go.
I love me a good book mail. And if you want to give us book mail, feel free to reach out at twoboundbooks.com and let us know that you would love to send us book mail because I would love to be able to read it.
Amber's shameless plugs are her saying that she wants to start doing sponsored commercials.
Okay, I just want to read books. If I could read books 24/7, I would. Like my mom and dad are terrified that I'm going to just quit my day job and just read all day.
I mean, if you can afford to, why not?
If you want to sponsor Two Bound Books, feel free to reach out at twoboundbooks.com.
Okay. All right. So
help
world
Amber
building,
accomplish her goal.
world building. We talked about it a little bit, and how you felt like the world building was long. Do you feel like it was done well?
It took a while to get into it, but once you were in it and you understood it,
yeah,
and like you understood the language of it, then you were in it. And so I gave it a 4 out of 5. It was very immersive. It was richly detailed. It was at times a little complex, but it wasn't overly complex to the point where it was like overwhelming.
That's good. Okay, so we get 4 out of 5 for world building, and then character depth. So with multiple POVs, sometimes the character depth can be phenomenal because you're getting to know each of the characters so much better and just the way that they think, how they feel. And sometimes you get a lot more surface level with the multiple POVs. So what were your thoughts here?
Well, so what's neat about this book is it's all pertaining to Elliah and what is currently happening in the now. And so you're figuring out who Elliah is and what makes her so intriguing and so special and why exactly she is the way that she is and what makes her truly unique in this world. And so with that, like if you in this world, if you were considered a bereft or magicless elf, you were supposed to be put down. Like you were supposed to be killed.
Sad.
And so like that's why she was on the run, or that's why she thought she was on the run.
Okay.
And so like,
so you got a lot of character depth from Elliah. What about the other characters?
Well, so as you're growing with Eliah's story, all of the other characters are also developing their own kind of storyline along with her. And so it's nice because they're all progressing at the relatively same pace. So it felt like I had a group of friends and we were all going on an adventure together and we were all just trying to like be there to help support a friend.
So you felt like there was depth then?
Oh, absolutely. I gave it 4 out of 5. The main characters, especially Elliah, they felt authentic, real, relatable. A few of the secondary characters could have been a little bit more fleshed out. Some of them you meet like really quick. There's one chapter right at the end there where I was like, who am I reading? Am I a dragon? There's what? It just like came out of left field.
Setting up the next book probably.
100% it's setting up the next book. And so it's neat because I can't say enough good things. 4 out of 5.
Okay. And moving into emotional impact. Give me your thoughts there.
Stephen J. Morris. How could you? There are so many things in this book that like I didn't realize that I was gonna like possibly like cry for like a moment. And I did.
Okay.
And so like emotional impact wise, I got a little weepy at a part. And you like, it just came out of nowhere. And I was like, why are we feeling feelings like this?
Was there any humor or?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, okay, so there's other emotional aspects to the book as well.
Oh, yeah. But like emotionally in regards to like the charge that like came out of nowhere, that's the thing that shocked me the most. But I had a solid laugh at quite a few different parts.
I think that if this book becomes a movie, you'll have to audition for it.
No, so here's the best news ever. He emailed me the other day and he was like, hey, just so you know, we're in the process of turning this book into an audiobook. And I had been telling Taylor, my husband, you would love this book because it's fantasy. That's right up his alley. He loves Ranger's Apprentice. Anything along those lines. Prefers audiobooks. And I was like, Taylor, you'd love this book. And he's like, well, as long as it gets turned into an audiobook. And then just out of the blue, Stephen's like, hey, this book's getting turned into an audiobook. And I was like, oh, yes.
Have you thought about becoming a narrator?
As much as I would love to, I don't think I have enough time for that.
Probably not.
I kind of lead a busy life.
Yep.
Just a little bit. So, but emotional impact wise, I give it 4 out of 5.
Okay. And then unput down ability. We talked about it. Once you got into it, really struggled to put it down. It sounded like at the beginning, it was a little easier to put it down and walk away. But once you hit that mark.
Oh yeah. Once you hit probably around the 30, well, it was probably like the 25-30% mark. All of a sudden I was like, well, now I have to read until I'm 50% through. And then once you're at 50%, you might as well read until you're like 75%. And then once you're at 75%, you're like already almost done. And so you might as well just finish.
I have to tell you, on our podcast that went out, episode 10, so it's our one right before this, I was editing it and I'm saying it's always the last 75% of the book. And I'm like, Shailee, 15%. So I like have a little asterisk on our YouTube.
15 or 25?
Or 25. But I definitely meant the last 15% of the book. Like that's when all of the action gets packed in.
Oh, yeah.
So my brain just wasn't there. And I also had mentioned sitting out on the lanai in Hawaii every morning watching the sunset. Definitely meant sunrise. So apparently I was still in vacation mode.
You were still in the lanai. So, but unput down ability wise, absolutely. I give it a 4 out of 5 on that as well. Because once you hit that point, you're like, I need to finish this. I need to know what happens.
I'm seeing a theme here.
It scored solid 4s out of 5s on all of it.
All right, let's talk about the bonus quills. I'll let you take it away.
Amber's bonus quill. So me, myself, and I do not give the wit and dialogue.
Okay.
If internal thoughts were
outward wit
were considered the dialogue, then absolutely. But the overall conversational aspect does not get my bonus quill.
Okay. But for loyalty, love, and mystery, it did get a bonus quill. So that took our total quill rating up to 22 out of 25.
Yes. Stephen J. Morris, thank you for your book. It was absolutely delightful to read. And I look forward to getting sucked into the next 2 books.
Yeah, it's exciting. So we will have his book linked on our website when this episode comes out. And so
along with all of his social medias and outreach and things like that. And he's given a code for a discount.
So we will include that as well. And with that, let's wrap it up. A big thank you to our producer, Rob, who owns RoMar Entertainment and Aletheia Digital Media. If you are looking for digital media needs, you can reach out at aletheiadigitalmedia.com, also linked in the notes below. You can head to social media and follow us on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube. And Amber, what can our authors do?
You can find us on tweboundbooks.com and turn your book in for the possibility of having it show up here on our podcast. We'd love for the chance for your book to be featured behind us with book mail or featured on our podcast.
Bye, guys.